Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Sourdough Squad, football's back. We back. Football's back, baby. Let's go. We got OTAs going on right now. We are going to pull up clips from OTAs from various reporters, credentialed media. We're going to look at them. We're going to discuss Trey's mechanics. We're going to discuss Sam Darnold versus Trey Lance. We're going to discuss everything. And if you are just as hyped as I am to get into all this, smash that like button and drop an SDS in the chat. We got football to talk about. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. You smell that? That smells like football, baby. It smells like football. We got 49ers players on the green grass, 49ers helmets on. We got Trey Lance. We got Sam Darnold. We got rookies. We got vets. Ooh, boy, have we been waiting for this. Boy, have we been waiting for this. I love hypotheticals. I love, throwing stuff against, the wall, seeing if it sticks. But you know what I love more? I love actual football. And we got it right now. Shout out to all the credentialed media members at the San Francisco 49ers facility right now, getting us content because we are like ravenous. Just give us content. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to react to what we've seen posted across the internet. I'm going to pull up clips, so we will look at everything together. We'll analyze what we got, and we'll just talk about everything because we got throwing motion watch. We've got Trey versus Sam. We've gotten reports that Drake Jackson's looking jacked. Oh man, I'm excited, man. So we're gonna pull up all the clips. So it's going to be a watch and react type show. So if you haven't been able to see everything, we're just gonna pull it up and we're gonna go through it. So let's get started, shall we? Smash that like button if you haven't already. Shout out to we got a solid amount of people in here. Let's go. Let's get into it. I'm gonna start pulling up some clips. Right off the bat, the first thing that I noticed, because all the clips dropped of Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, and it's something to identify. I've talked about this on Twitter. At this current stage of the offseason, the things that I am looking for from OTAs, from training camp, the first initial things that I am looking for is where are these guys in the depth chart? Because what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to set a baseline so that when we move through the summer, get to training camp, we see how everything evolves. So right now, the baseline is Trey Lance, considering the circumstances of Brock Purdy being out and it's only Trey Lance and Sam Darnold. Trey Lance was the first quarterback to lead warmups. I think it would be more newsworthy if Trey wasn't leading warmups and it was Sam. That would be really newsworthy. But I think again, we're setting the baseline. And right now, Trey is going out there with the ones as he should. That's the way it should go. He's been here, he's been in the system. And to start OTAs, he should be QB1 to start it off. Now, Trey, Sam, let the games begin. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm officially ready to move off quarterback controversy and move on to quarterback competition. That's where we're at. Let the best man win. Trey, Brock, Sam, I don't care. Go out and take this job. I don't care who it does because whoever takes this job is going to be the most deserving. So that's where I'm at. And Trey comes in right now in OTAs as quarterback one, as he should. But now it's up to Trey to keep Sam off his behind, right? That's what Trey's got to do. Trey has got to continue to put in. All right, we're back. I don't know why my thing does that. All right, let's look at some. We got one clip right away. We've got Trey Lance. This is via Sterling Bennett. He is a producer for 95.7 The Game. He's at OTAs right now, and he is sending this clip. Now, this is just warm-ups, right? This is just what these guys do. This is Kyle Shanahan's famous bag drill. Again, what you're trying to show here and replicate is Kyle explains it like this. The pocket isn't always going to be clean. You're not always going to be able to step up into your throw. So you have to keep your base under you and you have to be able to just let it rip. So that's what they're trying to replicate here. That's why they're keeping their wide base. That's why he's not taking big exaggerated throws, anything like that. So this is a good sign for Trey because you're seeing like has always had this kind of rhythm hop into his throw, and what we're watching is we're just seeing him work through those things. This is Sam Darnold. This is via John Dickinson, also works for 95.7 The Game. But we got Sam Darnold to George Kittle right now. And again, with Sam Darnold, you can see he's got clean drop back, kind of panned out of that one right there. But he's got a clean drop back, plants his foot, ball comes out quick. It's what you want to see from a quarterback. I mean, you can see some of the velocity that comes out on that ball. And again, when we talk about Sam Darnold, that's where Sam is currently like, that's where his strengths lie. His strengths lie in his ability to throw the football. With Sam, what we're looking for is when we get into team periods with Sam and how he can process reading defenses, all those different types of things. That's what we'll be looking at. Um, and basically, I don't know how you guys feel. And I'm going to pull up more clips. Don't you worry. These aren't the only clips we're going to watch. It's the only ones I got posted. But I feel like this is me right now. Like this is the vibe. Like we're talking about football. We are talking about football. Hallelujah. Let the football gods shine down upon us. Let them, again, I don't, you know where we stand on this channel. I don't care if you're pro Lance, pro Trey, pro Sam. I don't care if you like all three. Let's talk about ball. And that's what we got today. So, very happy. Very happy. But like I said, I'll continue to pull up clips. So stay tuned. I'm going to keep working through and pulling up clips and all that good stuff. Let's see what else we got. I want to show more Trey because I think we're going to get a good look. You know, we saw the bag drill, and again, the bag drill is the bag drill. But when he's not throwing with the bag, you can really start to see some of his mechanics and where his mechanics have improved. It's something that we've detailed in depth on this account, and it will be something that we can reference back. You know, as you guys have known, if you've been in these lives before, we've pulled up clips from him in his pre-draft training, what his throwing motion and his technique looked like then compared to what it looks like now. We've already seen improvements year in and year out, but we're going to see more. And I'm going to pull up the clip, watch, and get a good baseline of how his mechanics have improved. This is what we're going to see. So, again, a lot has been made. Shout out to Matt Barrows from The Athletic for his article, uh, basically shedding light on how Trey's mechanics has improved. And, you know, it was all words. We didn't really get to see anything. Well, this is and again, this is from Sterling Bennett, producer for 95.7. Great shot here of just being able to see Trey Lance's mechanics. The biggest thing with Trey, and you hear it all the time, it's connecting his feet to his upper body, because as a thrower, it starts with your base. It starts with your feet, your hitch step, and how that travels through to your motion. Now, one of the things that Trey has been working on is basically becoming more efficient with his base. We've talked about it, we've shown old clips. He typically had this bounce and rhythm hop into his hitch step. So he would rise and then drop. And from a quarterback perspective, that's wasted motion. That's added time. Again, milliseconds matter from the quarterback position. I mean, ask Brock Purdy. Milliseconds matter. Timing matters. And so eliminating the rhythm hop to how exaggerated it was compared to what we're seeing now in this particular clip, just talking about the base specifically, you can see tangible improvement. You can see that. You can literally see, based on how we've tracked from pre-draft, post OTAs as a rookie, second year training camp, and now we're heading into year 3. And each step along the way, what you're seeing is the efficiencies driven through his mechanics. And a lot of people think throwing mechanics, they think arm, right? It's not all arm. It is just, it starts with your base, and then it goes from your base to your hips to your arm, and you have to connect everything. I spoke to Trey Lance's pre-draft quarterback coach. I noticed things on tape from North Dakota State, because he's got an arm. He has a big arm. He has a talented arm, but you would see the ball die on him in certain instances, and not even deep throws. The ball would just die. And I asked his coach about that. I said, what is, like, why is this happening? Because it's not because he's lacking of an arm, but what is the situation here? And he said the biggest thing with Trey Lance is connecting his feet to his arm. And that was before he took one step into OTAs. And now we're heading into year 3 of OTAs, and we've been able to see the progression. And that is the cool thing about this. That's what I love football. You guys know me. If you've been a part of this channel, if you're one of the 361 watching who subscribe to this channel, and you check in with lives regularly over the last couple of years, you know that I'm a big developmental guy. Just because you come into the league one way doesn't mean that's who you are all the way throughout. And with Trey, he came into the league extremely raw, them trying to figure out certain things within his mechanics and trying to adjust and make it more efficient so that it can translate into better accuracy, more better timing with his throws, et cetera, et cetera. We're getting to that point where, if this is Trey in games, if this is Trey as we continue to see him in training camp, in team periods, then translating that to preseason, then translating that to real games, this is good. This is good for Trey Lance's development. This is positive of what we're seeing here in regards to how his mechanics are working. Again, watch the plant foot. He's still, so this is the maturation process of his rhythm hop. See that? That's still a rhythm hop, right? He's still planning, getting his foot back under him and throwing, right? But use this fence line as, like, pretend like it's a line across, so that we can keep an eye on his head depth. Because again, one of the first things we identified with Trey coming out of college into the NFL is he would rise. And because he would rise out of his hitch, he would then have to drop back into his throwing stance. And that is wasted motion, like I talked about earlier. If you watch, he still has a bit of a rhythm step, but it's efficient now. See the rhythm? That's still a little rhythm step, but before he would rise and then have to drop back, and it just was wasted time. And you can see out of his hitch and that step, his head is pretty darn level. And then as he begins to step forward and plant, the arm is going with it. You get the nice 90. It looks tighter because before you could see instances where that ball was kind of hanging out there like this. It looks tighter to his body, which again creates efficiencies in the motion. Front leg before, see that front knee right there? Right here, there would be some instances where he would go flat, like his leg would go straight. And then that also impacts where he can be with his whole base. And you can see this is great. I'm really happy for Trey because it's been a long journey to get here for this guy. And he's been through some crazy scenarios. Um, this far in his young career. And again, ideally, right, in an ideal perfect situation, we aren't talking about throwing mechanics this in depth heading into year 3, but at the end of the day, this is where we are, and that's okay. And he's only 23 years old, and he deserves the ability and the opportunity to develop. And the fact that he is developing tells you that he is able to, or he is putting in the time, he's putting in the work, he's putting in the effort, all of it to make those corrections. And that is what is exciting about this clip. Again, against air, no pads, warm ups, individual drills. It should look good. It should look pretty. It should look nice, right? But with Trey, it hasn't been that way, and it's been a process. What this tells us is he's put in the work. He has put in the time and the effort to clean it up. And that is where the optimism lies. Now, next step, right? We can contextualize everything. Does this mean he's out the weeds and he's going to be an all pro quarterback? Absolutely not. But what we're looking for next is how does this translate to team period? How does this translate to when the live bullets start flying? Because the thing with technique is that needs to be your muscle memory. So when you got Javon Hargrave and Nick Bosa coming in to sandwich you and take your head off, obviously they're not going to hit him in practice. But what do you do with your mechanics? Do you revert? Do you revert back to things that your mind is used to doing, or are you able to stick with what you have been able to do? I'm happy about this, man. Like I really am. And again, shout out Sterling Bennett. It's a great video to be able to just kind of show Trey's motion. And again, I have watched way too many of Trey Lance's pre-workout clips for the last 3 years, more so than I'd like to admit. But I also feel like I have a strong baseline of his progress throughout. And so this just in from Matt Mayoko, the only 11 on 11 work during 49ers practice was okay, helmets at the end of practice. I don't know what that means. The only other offense versus defense was 7 on 7. The QBs pretty much looked as advertised with Trey Lance taking the first reps. So, as advertised, Trey Lance has been looking good. So, I guess 7 all, so Cam Inman just dropped the stats. Lance was 11 of 15. 4 of 5 of those passes were intended for Chris Connolly. 4 of them were caught. 1 was incomplete. Darnold was 12 of 6. Under through Gray underthrew Danny Gray on a 35-yard pass breakup from Darrell Luter, the rookie. So Darnold underthrew the speedster, Danny Gray, second-year wide receiver, rookie cornerback Darrell Luter Jr. with a PBU because it was underthrown. He says Brandon Allen, their third string quarterback, was 4 of 4, but he goes on to say nothing sensational, mostly short throws. So again, it's OTAs, and we take OTAs with a grain of salt, but we can still evaluate OTAs. We can still use it as a baseline, and that's what it's got to be. And so far, we also got Jake Moody and Zane. We got a kicker battle update, guys. We got a kicker battle update. We got Jake Moody and Zane Gonzalez both hit field goals of 33, 38, and 43 yards, but both missed on 48. That is from Matt Mayoko. Oh boy, we got a kicker competition on our hands. I'm so hyped, man. This just makes me so happy. Like, we're talking about football, baby. We're talking about football. I don't care if it's OTAs, man. You guys know, if you've been a 49er fan and if you are in this live, you are in it. Like, you are in the weeds, man. You're in the trenches. You want to know about this team and what's going on. So you're probably just as exhausted as I am about all these things. Oh, we even got Kyle Shanahan talking right now. All right, do we simulcast? I feel like we have to. All right, let's simulcast. We'll react to Kyle Shanahan speaking to the media live. I'm gonna pull it up right. Kyle Shanahan right here, so you don't have to go anywhere. All right, I'm gonna pull that up right now. So stay tuned. These these ads get out the way. All right, ads are out the way. All right, we're going live right now with Kyle Shanahan.
Out last year, his grip and everything. And so I thought he got to go in this time with his time away. Just he knew what he had to focus on. He had known what he had struggled with. He had known what he had done good with. He'd gotten to see two different quarterbacks playing our offense two different ways. And I just think his time away was a lot more deliberate and in a position where he knew what he could isolate on, which I think helped him compared to last year.
That was an ongoing thing even up to like week 1 of last season?
No, I think when you spend 4 months trying to recorrect, I mean, everything's about muscle memory and stuff and how you develop things through repetition. And when you throw a certain way for an entire football season, adjusting because of how a finger feels, that becomes your muscle memory. It takes a while to correct that. You got to work and isolate on just that for a long time. And there's a lot of other stuff you need to isolate on besides that, which allows you not to do that other stuff. So I think he spent most of his time working on a grip and things like that, trying to get it back, which is usually a prerequisite, but because of his circumstances, he got in that. So he was just late to working on other things. This year, he went into this offseason knowing exactly just football-wise what he had to work on, and I think that's why he's ahead of last year.
To carry himself any differently inside the building as opposed to last year where he was the starter, everybody knew he was the starter, and now he's competing for this spot.
I mean, I think Trey's been the same guy this offseason he was last offseason. Trey is a very special person that I don't think has to try to act anyway. I think guys have the respect of Trey, whether he played any other position, whether he was the 1, 2, or the 3. Yeah, obviously when you're the number 1 quarterback and you've done that and had experience, that carries more weight. But also when you're number 1 quarterback and you haven't played, that stuff still isn't real till you go out there and do it. That's all just outside perception. So Trey's been the same since he's been here. The guys respect the hell out of him, and they'll continue to do that.
The finger issue have a domino effect where it affected his arm to the point where it wasn't a natural motion anymore, and that's maybe where some of the fatigue or soreness.
Yeah, that everything. If it was a hip that bothered him, it would lead to everything. So, I mean, your throwing motion is your whole body is connected from the ground up, similar to golf swing. So anything that gets thrown off it can definitely adjust things. And when you overcompensate it, whatever it is, watch any quarterback throughout the year.
We talked about that.
That's when things start to hurt.
We
and then
talked
you gotta
about
go
that in
back
real
and calibrate
time.
it.
Exactly what we said.
Being the coach of the 49ers.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to compare it to other years, but I mean, we got two guys who are talented enough to be taken in the top 5 of the draft, and we have another guy who played like it last year. So I like the 3 guys we got, and I've always been a fan of Brandon Allen. Just watching him throughout his career, and to be able to get him in here also, I feel real fortunate with our 4.
What are you doing on his recovery?
He's doing good. Still staying the same. Yeah. Yep, on schedule.
Will he begin that throwing program here in the next week or so?
Yeah, I think he's allowed to throw sometime next week.
Like a veteran presence, he's still young, or is he kind of a younger quarterback still?
I mean, I met Sam just when he came out of college, just interviewing him at Indy. He seemed like he had a veteran presence. I mean, just the way he carries himself, I think, whether he's in a football building or whoever his peers are off the field. And he seems almost like the same guy I met 4 years ago. So he is a little bit more of a veteran, being in a couple places, but Sam's come in here with, to me, being the same guy he's always been. That's why he's had such a good reputation. And he's coming here acting like he's learning everything from scratch, which he is, and trying to act like a rookie in that way, because it is all new to him. He doesn't want to make any assumptions. And he's been awesome in phase 1 and phase 2, trying to just do techniques he's not used to and things like that. And it's been cool that he put the work in those 2 phases, that he's been able to use some of it here in these last 2 practices.
Looking at him at a college, he was a mobile quarterback. Not running around like crazy. Is that a big feature in what you like about him now? Can you get some of that?
Big thing to just come
Yeah,
out.
I mean, that all
49ers
happens
Brock
usually with
Purdy
reactions and
on
stuff. I
schedule
mean, there's
to
2
start
types of mobile
throwing
quarterbacks. I mean, is
next
it a
week.
type that you try to design runs for, or is there a type who's got the athletic ability or just knack for making some off-schedule plays? And I think his knack for off-schedule plays has always been good. When something's not there and he feels space in the pocket and he doesn't hesitate to run, he's been able to do it very well. That's usually a bonus. I mean, you want that anytime you have that. But you also got to be very good at the quarterback position too. And Sam bringing that element is something that it helps a lot of stuff, as long as he doesn't miss the other elements with it. And I think that's something you saw with Brock a good amount last year when he came in. I mean, people wouldn't think of Brock as a runner, but he is quick. He is athletic in the pocket, and he makes plays very similar to the way Sam does, scrambling. And that's what we see in Sam too.
It's a moving target, but both you and John have mentioned training camp for Brock. Does that mean conceivable he could be ready at the start of training camp?
Yeah, it's not really a moving target. It's that only God knows, and
Only God
it's all
knows.
estimates. So it depends what quote people have got for me. But I mean, we're hoping for week 1. And
I love
we're pretty
Kyle,
optimistic
man. What a
about that.
legend.
That's what we're hoping for. He'll be ready to play in week 1.
Only
and,
God knows.
usually that doesn't mean that's the day he comes back. Usually you got to come before that to make
Only
that goal.
God knows.
And that's kind of the goal we're hoping for, and don't have any reason to think differently.
Excuse me. You're missing a few guys.
I
out
love
there.
Kyle, man. What a legend.
But are you generally pleased with the level of participation and energy today?
Oh yeah, I'm real pleased with it. I mean, it's always different. I mean, it's always different for O-line and D-line because just the way it is now. It's hard for us to set up for those guys to get as much. So it is more of a passing deal and skill position type thing. But for the most part, I mean, I think we had 5 guys not here. So I
love Kyle, man. That is hilarious.
pretty realistic with that. And I mean,
Only
I'll take
God
5.
knows. What a
Were
legend.
all of them expected? Were you expecting them not to be here?
Yeah, I communicate with all of them, so I've got a pretty good idea.
Your thoughts to that? You can outroll past that.
I mean, probably the same as all the other special teams coach. I mean, when you don't have experience of it, you don't know which way it's going to go.
What a legend. We got a bar
I
just
think
now.
the point is for probably to eliminate more.
We got a bar.
stuff
Let's go.
just for safety. So if that's the case, then I think everyone's for that. But
Oh
just not
my
sure that it
God.
is. So
That's
we'll have to see how it plays
hilarious,
out now and how
dog.
it goes and how we adjust to it. But that's the rule now. So now we'll start trying to make estimates about what our philosophies will be. But any philosophy will be developed through the experience of watching how it works out throughout the year.
Dwight Clark
Oh,
event that,
God,
Brock
that's
was
so
coming out with a
good.
towel. Can you explain what exactly he's doing with the towel to sort of mimic the throwing motion?
Yeah, just I mean, everything that we work on when it comes for the NFL guys throwing just is usually from the ground up, and how to time their feet, their drops, their eyes, and everything. I rarely even look at where the ball goes. Like, you just expect it to be there. and these are NFL quarterbacks. So it's tough when you can't pick up the weight of a ball and throw because your elbow. How do you work at everything else? And Brock's healthy in every other aspect, and he can move his arm. We just don't want to put that weight on it. So for Brock to still be able to do his drops, all his footwork and stuff, you want to be able to simulate a throwing motion, and that's hard with nothing in your arm. So he uses a towel instead, and that's what a lot of quarterbacks do. And you try to throw every day and work on things every day, but you don't want to wear your arm down. So sometimes you use a towel, sometimes you use a football, and Brock's just in a situation where he only can use a towel right now.
The Dwight Clark legacy event that Trey Lance had cleaned up his base a little bit when he throws. Could you explain a little bit what that means?
It means playing with your feet wider apart, always being in a position to throw. When you're a quarterback, your feet aren't together. When you turn into a runner, your feet are together and you look to run, but then it takes you a second and a half to throw, where defenders can tee off on and things like that. And it's about always having to be in a certain position to throw in. So when the O-line is bad, you're not one of those guys who's just going to get sacked every time the O-line's bad. You know how to get rid of the ball, or you know how to turn into a runner and go. And that has to do with how you balance your feet out, how far you keep them apart, and how you can progress in a pocket.
That's why they do that bag drill.
Stand out in particular to you today?
Not really. It's just 2 days. So, I mean, even if they did, I make sure I don't even say anything to the coaches, because I've coached too much to get very excited about guys on day one and not feel the same way on day 3 and vice versa. So it's early out there, and some what OTAs is like for the most part, but we'll have a better idea as we get towards the end of this. And then that's the best part, because we get away for 40 days. And I've also learned, do not make any concrete decisions, because you get away for 40 days and you come back, and that's when you really see who got better or worse and who's really going to make a play for this team. All right. Thanks, guys.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Kyle. You just made my day so much better. Like, I was already having a great day. And then Kyle just drops a bar on us. We'll stay tuned in case anything else drops. But all right. Let's see. Let's recap some of the quotes that we were able to catch from Kyle Shanahan. Again, I think the best line that this is a legendary, yet again, Kyle Shanahan quote. 49ers Kyle Shanahan on if Brock Purdy will be ready for training camp. Quote, only God knows. Legend. Gosh, I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm smitten by that. Made my day. We got an update to come out of that. 49ers Brock Purdy is still on schedule for rehab and is expected to start throwing next week. And again, all Kyle is doing right now is all he's doing is setting an expectation for us. That's it. He's protecting his quarterback by protecting him from unwarranted expectation, and he's protecting the fan base from expecting too much to then be disappointed. That's all Kyle is doing. I do believe if based on listening to all the conversations along this offseason, whether it's combine, owners meeting, these types of press conferences, Brock Purdy sounds like he'll be on track for training camp, just like we heard initially from John Lynch at the NFL's owners meeting. Remember, he said training camp, Brock Purdy will be ready to go. The very next day, Kyle Shanahan speaks to the media and he says, oh, no. Brock Purdy, week 1 through 4, right? And remember the entire narrative shift, the conversation shift, everything that came from that, it changed the expectation. So now if he is ready for training camp, and we've been thinking for the last 2 months that we're expecting Brock to miss games, but then he's back for training camp, like, hallelujah, that sounds like a W, opposed to saying Brock Purdy is going to be ready for training camp, but then he isn't. And then we're disappointed, or we're like, oh no, Here we go again. Look at the big brain on Kyle. I said that in real time from the owners' meetings, and I still believe that's what they're doing. And again, shout out to the big brain on Kyle, making sure that expectations aren't too lofty for a situation, like he said, that only God knows if Brock Purdy will actually be ready for training camp, because it's really hard to look into the future with injuries. So you just don't know. You just don't know, right? Like, you look at Trey Lance. Trey Lance had to have a second surgery on his ankle. And I don't think that was part of the plan. I don't think that was something that they were anticipating. So same things are aligned there. He's just setting the expectation um, to protect, I think, protect us, protect the team, protect Brock. So I'm all for that. Tell me week 1, that's fine, but continue to tell me that everything does look like it's on track and he's going to start throwing next week, which again was the original timetable. So Brock is still on the original timetable that would have him ready to go for training camp. So I'm vibing. I'm vibing with everything. I'm vibing with everything Kyle had to say. Kyle also said Trey Lance is a very special person. Again, just continuing to have his quarterbacks back. I think that's awesome. Um, I really do think they're heading into this training camp. They're heading into this situation as we're just going to let everything play out, because I think that's what Kyle said there at the end. At the end, Kyle said, I think a reporter asked, are you excited about anyone? Has anyone stood out to you yet? And he was reluctant to say anything. And he's like, I'm not even going to tell my coaches because I don't want to get ahead of myself, because he's been coaching long enough that guys could look good in OTAs, but then they get into training camp and it's a completely different scenario. Someone else steps up, someone else gets better, and it changes your like mindset. Or like sometimes you kind of get locked in on someone and then you're like, did I jump the gun on that? Maybe he wasn't as ready as I thought they were. And that, is that related to kind of Spencer Burford a little bit, because he's had that kind of conversation about Spencer Burford sometimes. He said that Spencer Burford looked phenomenal in the OTAs, and then as we got into the season, they rotated Spencer Burford and Brunskill all year, and I think it was to like also make sure Burford was still getting those reps and still keeping his confidence up and things like that, but also understanding Brunskill is very capable, and he could come in and he could aid and he could be a benefit to the offense. And so maybe that's kind of where Kyle's coming from. Again, speculation at this point from me, but that's kind of what it sounds like not getting too locked in at OTAs, because remember, Burford was locked in as a starter in OTAs. So maybe it's just I like the message. To me, the message is open-mindedness, stay fluid, allow things to develop, and don't make any overreactions in May. Leave the overreactions to guys like me. We'll overreact, we'll overanalyze, and that's what we do, right? Because we're hungry for this. Like, we want to know, we want to understand better. So let us overreact. Let Kyle be the tempered, uh, logical, rational one. Let us go crazy with all the speculation. Uh, that was great. That was great. I liked it. Feels like football's here, man. I've been missing it. I've been missing football. I have been missing talking about football. Like, we've been just spinning on hypotheticals, spinning on narratives, spinning on other people's opinions. We just watch right now. We just get to watch. We got some clips We got all that stuff, man. Really, really happy about that. Nick Wagner of ESPN is reporting that among the 49ers, I did not see during today's workouts, these are not mandatory. Yes, we know they're not mandatory. So Nick Wagner is saying he didn't see Nick Bosa, Javon Hargrave, Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, Debo Samuel, Ray McLeod, Charvarius Ward, and Dre Greenlaw were doing some work off to the side. But Bosa, Hargrave, Trent, Purdy, Debo, and Ray aren't in attendance. And I saw Debo post earlier today. Like it was clear that Debo wasn't going to be here, which isn't a big deal. It's organized team activities, but at the end of the day, it's optional. I think the good thing to take away from it is that most of the guys, it sounds like, showed up. Like, I'm okay with Trent staying away. I'm okay. Obviously, Brock isn't going to be available. I'm okay with Bosa staying away. I don't think Bosa should come back until he gets paid. That's what I think. I don't think Bosa should step on a practice field until he gets paid, until he gets that record-breaking contract from the 49ers to make him the highest paid defensive player in the NFL. I don't think he should come back. Or at least if he comes back, I don't think he should participate until that is signed. And I think that's where we're at. I don't think we're going to see Bosa step onto a 40. I don't see why he would need to. I just hey, you know what is where it's business time of the year, right? We gotta shore up the business side of things. So yeah, Bosa, chill, vibe out in Florida. We don't got to worry about Bosa putting in work. Bosa's going to put in work. Bosa's going to do whatever he needs to do to make sure his body's in shape, his body's right, he's healthy, and he's working. We know what it is. Excuse me. So I'm happy about today's. We got some good updates today. We got some good updates. We got good clips. We got some stuff to be optimistic about. Fred says, Brad, Bosa has to prove it in the playoffs first before he gets paid. He's getting lit this season on his 5th-year deal. He's getting lit. You getting lit? What? He's getting lit.
It's going good. Yep, feeling good and taking it one day at a time. So, yeah.
Next week, the week that you'll pick up a football and throw a football?
Yes, sir. That's the plan.
That's still May. I mean, does that mean that we'd always heard June, first week of June. Does that mean that you're a little bit ahead of things?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure, like, in terms of, the timeline and are we on schedule? We've just been taking it, from what the physical therapist, the surgeon, what they've said, what it looks like with guys that they've worked on, like, hey, this is like the next step. And we've just been following the plan. And really it's just how your arm feels on a day-to-day basis and a week-to-week basis. And you go from there and you make decisions from there. So that's just where we're at. So
He was optimistic that you'd be ready week 1. Are you feeling like that as well?
yeah, I mean, I think for sure, like I feel good. Arm is feeling good. So to say I'm going to be ready by this time or this time, I just, we're not trying to label any kind of timeline like that. For sure, though, like that's a goal, right? You want to be ready for, the season. And if that's the case, great. But like I said, we're just taking it one day at a time and don't want to say anything that
Kyle Shanahan is smiling
regret
somewhere right
down the
now
road
at
or
that
whatever,
answer.
so.
Kyle Shanahan is very pleased with that answer. Do not set any
Yeah, I mean,
expectations.
it's just been sort of new to me. It's my first time going through a rehab from a surgery and all that. And so, it's the off season. So it was, fine doing the workouts and everything, getting back into it. But then once you see guys starting to practice and stuff like that and watch, and it's like, man, you want to be out there for sure. That's just the competitive side of it. But, I'm still able to, watch the film, be in the meetings, learn and grow. And see what I did last year and learn from the good and the bad. So still taking a lot of good things out of the offseason.
You got hurt the 29th and you had to wait till March 10th to have surgery. What were your emotions like during that time? Some anxiety as far as what the future held?
For me, I knew everything was going to work out how it needed to. In the moment, it was all right. What do I have to do next? What's the surgery look like, and when is that going to be? That's just what I was more focused on. Not what is my future going to consist of or anything like that. I'm at peace with whatever happens, God willing, and everything falls into place where it needs to. So I wasn't trying to focus too far into the future with anything like that.
To look back at the good and bad from last year. When you went and watched yourself, what did you see on either side of those things?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, the good, just in terms of, having confidence, man. Playing this level, you got to have confidence and going in and being consistent, I feel like those are things, when I first went in, I just stuck to what Kyle was coaching me on. And then, as I started playing and stuff, there's times where you want to make some plays and things like that, and you start to get out of what they're coaching. And so I feel like playing within what they're coaching and just playing consistent ball, as an NFL quarterback, I think that's something that I can for sure work on. And I watched the film and with Kyle and Greasy and all of them, and they all say the same thing. So those are just, some things I took away from last year and what I got to work on.
You're thinking is mostly forward or what's going on, but rehab time gives you idle time. And I'm just curious as to, did you have much time to reflect from what happened to you from the point of the draft all the way to the end of the season when you got hurt against the Eagles? I mean, all those events.
Yeah,
it must be pretty remarkable to even sit back and take all that in.
For sure. I definitely had some time to just reflect on everything, especially once we knew when I was getting the surgery and all that, got it all settled. And then just took some time to, from last year, or what is that, almost a year and a half ago, of finishing my senior year of college and then, trying to scratch and claw my way into making a team, and then all the way up until the NFC Championship. So for me, man, I was just seeing how, good God was and is, and just seeing how great of a, story, he can create with anybody. And obviously for myself, being thankful for the way things have turned out and the things that I've learned along the way with, just adversity and trying to make the team and then trying to do good in preseason games. And then once my opportunity had come week 13, taking advantage of that opportunity. So there's so many things that had happened, within the last year, and the off season was great. Just to take a step back, reflect on everything and be thankful. So.
You did a string with your arm. I think even at the Giants game on TV, you were pretty soon after surgery, you were kind of moving around.
Yep.
In real life, is there any limitations, anything that you're experiencing or you can't do with that right arm?
I mean, after surgery, you get out of the brace and everything like that. You just got to regain your strength and start lifting and doing things like that. So, I'm not going to, do something crazy where I'm lifting something heavy after surgery. But, the last month or so, it's been regain your strength and I'm lifting and doing everything normal now. So it's feeling good. And I feel like I can do everything around the house now. So, yeah.
In March, both Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch said that John's words were, "You're the leader in the clubhouse as far as being the starter to open the season if you're healthy." How did you take that? And I'm sure they obviously told you the same things. Like, what did that do to your mindset to hear that vote of confidence from both of those men?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just try to focus on where I'm at right now, and for me, it's get my arm healthy. To say all these things and say you want to be this kind of guy or that kind of guy of the team. I think that's just, in a sense, foolish just for myself to think like that. Like, for me, I come into work every day trying to get my arm right, try to be around the guys and do what it takes to win. We want to win a Super Bowl here, and that's simple as that. And so for me, I just do my job and everything else falls into place. But, I'm just trying to be present. I'm not trying to get caught up in rumors or what people were saying or anything like that. So, but for the fact that I'm to say that, yeah, for sure, I'm appreciative and to see what we did last year and, winning 12 games in a row and everything that we, as a team, it was a great accomplishment. So we just want to build off that momentum,
What's the quarterback room dynamic like now with Sam in there, Brandon in there? Right? Is Greasy running? How vocal, I guess, are you if you're not out there on the field?
No, yeah, it's the dynamic is great. Brandon has played, numerous amount of years, and his experience with Joe Burrow has been great to have him come in and just see how he thinks with football, and obviously Sam, where he's been, and how Josh McCown has helped him out. And then obviously Trey and I, we've been around Greasy and Kubiak. So I think just all of us as a collective, just understanding what our scheme is, what Kyle is teaching us, and just helping each other out within the meetings and seeing things from different perspectives from all of us, because we've all had some kind of experience of playing. So it's been great so far. The dynamic is great. We all get along really well, and I'm really excited, moving forward with this group of guys. So.
For just the rest of this off season, will you stay here to do all the rest of your rehab, or will you get away? What's kind of how you lay it out?
We got to finish out everything right through OTAs here. See how I feel, but I think the plan would be go back down to Jacksonville with my quarterback guys that I trained with before the draft, Tom Gormelli and Will Hewlett. As I start to throw more, and
Willie,
I want to just make sure my mechanics and everything are right. So go down, work with them for a couple weeks, and then get back here.
Mentally in the offense compared to last year at this time?
Yeah, last year, every single night it's like study and sort of stress out about, I got to learn this concept and this one and go run it, at OTAs and try to prove myself to my teammates and coaches. And so obviously this year, I'm not out in the field, obviously, but being able to, when a play call comes in and I hear it and I can see it better, like just mentally, and it just happens a little bit quicker. But there's still a lot of details and things that I can clean up just with how I operate and see the defense and all that kind of stuff. So that's what I'm working on right now. But
ain't lying.
I think, like a night and day difference for sure, coming in as a rookie compared to now.
Last year where you did hit kind of a comfort zone and what you're talking about?
Yeah, I would say during the season compared to off season, just play calls like OTAs, camp, you're running – your base plays. During the season, you get into more just scheme of playing a defense, and so the plays are different every week. But I feel like the flow, how a play call comes in, being in the huddle, taking command, all that kind of stuff started to click, after I think really the Tampa Bay game, and sort of just rolled from there. But, before that, yeah, it's I think just playing quarterback and leading and talking to guys and communicating, those are all things that people don't really necessarily see that are huge. Just the way your teammates look at you, they have confidence in you, that they can sense that you have confidence. So
huge.
I feel like that's an area that I've grown in.
Returning help you in your preparation for season 2?
Oh yeah, it's been great. Really just picking up where we left off last year. Like I said, I always say like his experience, he's been in our shoes. So he's able to relate to a lot of things that, what we're seeing, how we're feeling, situational football, all that stuff. So to pick up the momentum that we had from last year, and then him being able to really, just break down protections and just different concepts, having Greasy in our corner, man, has been a blessing. So he's the man. Appreciate it, guys.
Okay, Brock. Okay, Brocky. All right, takeaways from Brock. Oh, I want this one. Takeaways from Brock talking. He was talking about it there at the end, about communicating the intangible sides of playing quarterback, which don't get discussed enough. I think he's elite in those categories. Like when you talk about leadership, you talk about being able to relate to 1 through 53 on the roster. I think he has elite quarterback intangibles. And that's why he has seen such strong success early. What I also love that he said is that was his rookie year, man. He still can process the defense faster. He can still see things better. He can still diagnose what he needs to do within the scheme and improve upon that, because that's exactly what we talked about. He's a rookie, man. He was a rookie thrown into the fire, and what he was able to do under those circumstances was insane. Considering being Mr. Irrelevant and all of those things, he's got that part of it, and like he's only going to continue to improve in that area. The only thing that right now I think we have to just be patient on is Brock's ability to throw. Oh, we got Sam Darnold coming up, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we got Sammy. We're gonna hear from Trey too. So once Sam gets pulled up, there we go.
Focus here in the early days of getting on the field. What's the biggest obstacles that you face coming to a new system?
Smash that like button.
Yeah, I think it's continuing to learn and watch yourself grow as a player. But I think before that, it's learning the system. It's and then once you learn the system, being able to go out there and go through a walkthrough in phase 1 and phase 2, and then phase 3, kind of put it all together and go through some 7-on-7 and some different team drills that we're doing. So I think it's really making sure that I'm on it in terms of all the shifts, motions, checks, all those things, and my reads, and making sure that everything's clear in my head to go out there and play confidently and play fast.
In your room, we talked about how Brian Greasy, having gone through the whole process, is just such a huge advantage for a quarterback. Discuss that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Grease has been he's been awesome so far, really throughout the whole process. Right when I decided to sign here, Greasy's been awesome for me, just to be able to talk to about about learning the system,
Greasy,
about coming to a new team, certain expectations of kind of just coming in and being the new guy on the block, and but also having that mindset of, okay, when I step in that huddle, I am the leader, and guys are gonna, if they got questions, they should feel confident in me that I know the answer in terms of scheme and what they got. So Greasy's been great that way, and yeah.
Did you have opportunity to sign for more money elsewhere?
I'm not going to go into too many details about what I could have signed for, and
good answer, Sam.
The different options that way, but I just know I'm excited to be here, and excited to get things going here.
Balance out the first team.
Good answer, Sam.
Take them, I guess, yesterday and today. Have they communicated to you? Does that mean something to you that the first team will be split up with you and Trey?
I think for me, it's it's cliche, but focusing one day at a time. I think that's the biggest thing for me. Whether it's first team reps or second team reps, they're reps, and it's just being able to be dialed in every single play and just compete. I think that's the biggest thing is competing, and whether it's, like I said, whether it's first team or second team reps, I'm ready to go.
Build rapport with your receivers. How have you done that over your career? I mean, is it just practice, or do you actually have conversations with a George Kittle or a Brandon Ayuk, sort of get inside their heads a little bit?
Yeah, I think every single time, for me, last year I had some of the same faces, and so you kind of get used to the way guys run routes. But I think conversations just kind of come up naturally throughout routes on air, through phase 2, even really phase 1, without coaches out there. And then phase 3, obviously, when we go against the defense, you start talking about certain schemes and certain routes, the way you want to run them against a certain coverage. So, like I said, it kind of comes up naturally, just talking football with the guys.
Christian McCaffrey helped you ingrain yourself with this team, and how do you see him fit with this offense?
Yeah, we all know how he is as a player. Christian's a great player who can go out and make plays, not only in the run game, but in the pass game as well. And then coming in here as well, it's always nice, when you got someone that and that you're buddies with, when you're coming to a new place, be able to have a familiar face coming in. So that's always nice.
And OTAs with some teams, maybe not this one so much, that prominent guys either don't practice. Sometimes they come and don't practice. Maybe they stay away and work out on their own, and it's voluntary. McCaffrey's setting a pretty torrid pace out there. When one of your main guys is doing that on a daily basis in practices that he could skip, what does that do for the rest of the team?
Yeah, I'm used to it. It's just his work ethic. That's never going to change. Really stems from meeting his dad, meeting his mom. It kind of stems from that, from him growing up and being raised that way. But yeah, he's just got a great work ethic, and I think guys respond to that really well, and kind of pushes the guys around him.
Sam, how are you a better player now than you were coming out of SC a few years ago?
Yeah, I think just learning from certain experiences, good and bad, indifferent. It's just the more ball you get to experience, as a quarterback especially, can only help you. And for me, it's continuing to experience football, and I feel like last year, taking a step in the right direction in terms of protecting the football a little bit better. Just want to continue to make strides in that direction, staying patient in the pocket, all those things. So, but yeah, I feel like every year you continue to strive to get better. And for me, it's just doing all the little things. And, but first and foremost, it's learning the offense, learning the scheme, and, continuing to study that way.
How can the competition in this quarterback room elevate your play and make you a better player?
Yeah, I think competition is great for everyone. Obviously, we got some competition in the quarterback room, but other places as well. It's always great to be able to go out there and compete. And yeah, we're gonna do that.
What kind of knowledge are you able to impart to Brock and Trey in terms of dealing with the things that they can't control?
Yeah, I think the past, what has it been, 5 years? The past 5 years of being in this league and being a starter, and going through the ups, going through the downs, of just being in this league and being a quarterback. You experience some things, and but I think Trey and Brock, even the young careers that they've had, have dealt with some adversity, obviously some ups, some downs as well. So yeah, I think it's just, at the end of the day, it's playing quarterback's a special privilege. And, with that comes a little bit of adversity as well. And, I think it's just really cool, the conversations that we get to have in the quarterback room, especially like you mentioned with Coach Greasy in there, just being able to talk about the position and talk about how to kind of deal with those things and deal with adversity, and even deal with success at times. So, yeah, it's just great conversations that come up, and yeah.
You've dealt with adversity in New York, which is not an easy place to deal with adversity. How did you, by all accounts, you could emerge with your psyche and confidence still intact? Because how were you able to do that? A lot of young quarterbacks in that situation kind of get shot.
I think it really just stems from never changing who you are. Again, and I need to continue to get better as a quarterback and all those things. And, but I think for me, it's really just having a really, honestly, a good family, having those people to lean on, and a really tight friend group circle that I have from back home, from college, and from, people that I met in New York and Charlotte as well. So yeah, it's just keeping that tight circle really close, that friend group that you got, and obviously a really close family. And that's kind of helped me along the way.
Putting in a lot of work in phase 1 and 2, almost like how a rookie would do it. Do you feel like that's an accurate description of how you're starting out your
Yeah, for sure. I mean, learning a new system is always a challenge in itself. And, but, at the same time, it's pretty fun, to be honest, just learning football and kind of hearing the way Kyle talks about some things, Greasy as well. And just the other guys, Brock and Trey being in it, Brandon Allen as well, who's in our quarterback room, who was in Cincy last year with Joe. So it's just, a lot of good experiences to kind of bounce certain questions off of, or opinions off of as well. So, yeah, it's going to be a fun year, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
All right, Sammy. We got Sammy going. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Sam is speaks like a veteran. He's not going to give away too much. I like that he didn't discuss like if he could have signed somewhere else, just for the simple fact that I don't mind the question. I think Eric Branch asked it. I don't mind the question, but that would have been a headline. That would have been like, yeah, I chose to take less money with the 49ers, and even if that is true, like he could have said like I was promised opportunities here. Like he could have went in depth. I'm glad he didn't. I'm glad he to me, I view that as, kind of taking the high road in a sense, and not like creating a headline, if that makes sense. I mean, again, it was a good question. I thought like it's not a bad question. But it's also a good veteran answer to not, because if he were to say that, it would be a headline. Um, and so I think, one of the things with Sam is, he's been in the New York media. He's been in that situation. And I think with Sam, I mean, I saw people in the chat. Now I'm just going to start saying, because you guys keep addressing it all the time. That was not intentional. Oh, I hate y'all. No, I love y'all. You know that. Oh my gosh. See, you got it stuck in my head now. You got it stuck in my head now. I almost did it again. Don't say but because I'm now focused on not saying okay, get it together. Get it together. Analysis. Hashtag analysis. Almost said it again. Sam. Damn it, guys. Now it's like the only thing my brain keeps coming back to. All right. Analysis. Keep it together. We're professionals here. We're professionals around here, all right? Again, basically, almost did it again. Oh my gosh, now I'm catching myself. I'm catching myself. Basically, Sam sounds like a veteran. He knows what he's here to do. He knows he's here to work. He knows he's here to compete. He has to learn a new system. I think people were talking about how he looks angry. Honestly, I would feel angry if I was Sam too. Like I would feel a little angry. I would feel a little like, how his career has gone up until this point, seemingly kind of cast to the side. Well, almost did it again. And I keep catching myself, man. Oh my gosh. Okay. Don't say I get is this what happens when you watch Kyle and Sam back to back? You just start saying It must be a ginger thing, man. It's a ginger connection. Oh. Oh. Goodness. Oh my goodness. Anyways, oh. I caught it mid I caught it mid that doesn't count. It doesn't count. I caught it mid doesn't count. If you're playing a drinking game right now, that doesn't count because I caught it. I caught it mid we're off the rails. Hey, we're past an hour. So that means we're officially off the rails. If you're new here, when we get past an hour of a live stream, anything goes. We try to keep it together. We try to stay locked in and like professional. Try to keep it together. When we get past an hour, anything goes. So we're past an hour, so I'm not surprised that we're going off the rails a little bit. But for the most part, Sam didn't say a whole lot, and I really don't expect him to say a whole lot. He gave very veteran type answers, talked about the room, talked about Trey, Brock, Brandon. Both Brock and Brandon, or both Brock and Sam, both talked about and mentioned unsolicited, like they weren't asked directly about it, but they both talked about Brandon Allen being the backup to Joe Burrow. Does that mean anything? I don't know, but they both brought it up. Oh my gosh. This is your fault, chat. This is your fault. You did this to me. You got my head all twisted up like a pretzel now. Oh gosh. All right. Anyways. Good stuff. Sam didn't say a whole lot. He short, sweet, to the point. I said that time. I didn't say I said okay, there's a difference. There's a difference. Again, you're playing a drinking game at home, doesn't count. Very important. Very, very important. You guys got me twisted up like a pretzel right now. This is all your fault. I take zero responsibility for this. This is all your fault, guys, because now I'm thinking too hard about it, and now I'm manifesting the ums. Okay. We're having an off. I'm leaning into it, so be prepared. I'm not going to stop them anymore. They're just going to come out, and you're going to have to deal with them. Deal with it. Deal with it. Deal with it. Okay? Deal with it. Oh gosh, what a time to be alive. And it is a great time to be alive because we're talking about actual football for once, and I feel pleased with my life. Feel great. Feel fantastic. So I would hope that we get some Trey Lance. Can we get some Trey Lance in the building? Hear from all three quarterbacks in one day. That would be nice. Keep a level playing field. Hear from Brock, hear from Sam, hear from Trey. That would be fantastic. That would be phenomenal. Bebop says, Brady going to OTAs. There's only one OTA open to practice or open to media, and that was today. But I am having a blast. Just reacting right now. This is basically the biggest takeaway from what came out of today. How dare you? How dare you? I'm having fun. No matter how many times I say I'm having a blast. whole team saying, I mean, they always say, this is all your fault. This is all your fault. The chat has set me over the edge finally. They have finally done me in. I hope you're happy. Hope you're pleased with yourselves. Bubbly says 238 likes. Let's get it to 250. We're leaning in at this point. We're leaning into it. Get ready. Get ready. It's gonna be a fest from here on out till training camp. It's gonna be a fest until training camp. I can't wait. We got to replace with something else. What could we do that would be creative? Anyways, we're off the rails, but I'm having a blast right now, so that's all that matters. I hope you guys are having a good time. I hope today was a day to kind of get back into that vibe, get back into the groove of football again. And he said, shout out the Ginger's gang. The Darney effect. Hey man, as long as you guys are having fun, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. We're just here trying to enjoy the San Francisco. We're here trying to enjoy the San Francisco 49ers. That's what we're trying to do here. So, if you are having a good time, smash that like button. I'm just happy that we got some plays on the field. We got Trey Lance, we got Sam Darnold. Drake Jackson is looking huge. Drake Jackson is looking huge, baby. Drake Jackson, apparently, word on the streets is Drake looking pretty thick, and I think that's a good thing. I think that Drake Jackson has the ability to. We talked about this yesterday too. We talked about, is Drake Jackson going to get leaner and go to the edge and go for more speed, or is Drake Jackson going to get thicker and kick inside? And it sounds like he went the bulking route. Now, I still think he'll be able to play edge. He'll be able to get on the outside. But I also think that we're going to see him kind of in that Omenihu role. And guess what? To be in that kind of Omenihu role, got to be a little thick, baby. Got to be a little thick, boys. That's a I love you guys. What this is up there with one of the better streams that we've had, I think, in a long time. You guys are bringing me back. They're bringing me back to life. Oh man, bringing me back to life. Let's see. I'm scouring. I'm looking around. Let's see. Do we get anything else out here? They got to bring up Trey. You think they're going to bring up Trey? He said this reminds me of the Prego segment. Oh, I forgot about that. Do you think they're going to bring up Trey? Trey did look good. That was one of the big takeaways from today is Trey did look good. Trey looked efficient. He looked compact. Throwing motion looks good. Base looking good. So far, boys looking good so far. Oh, shout out Sterling Bennett. So I asked a couple questions. Or things that I was looking for. I'll bring this back up if they put someone on. But I had asked some questions on Twitter of things that I wanted to be on the lookout for, or like I wanted to understand more about. So I'll bring up those questions. My guy Sterling just responded to my questions based on what we got cooking. All right, let me pull it up. So these are the things that I said that I was looking forward to seeing. We talked about this. Where is Feliciano playing? Where is Feliciano lining up? Because when we talked to Feliciano, remember, he told us that he wanted to play, he wanted to start. He didn't come here to be a backup. He said, worst case scenario, backup. But I'm here to compete. They told him he's here to compete. And Sterling, who was at practice today, says, from what I could tell, Feliciano was at right guard. So that's exactly what we were talking about when Feliciano was signed. And when we got into the tape, we're talking about Feliciano. We're evaluating him. He looked like a starter. He looked like a guy who could still start in the league and start at a high level. And he didn't want to divulge, when we had him on the show, he didn't want to divulge where he was competing. But according to Sterling Bennett, Feliciano is at right guard, and that's where we thought he would be. We didn't think he was coming in to compete with Jake Brendel. Jake Brendel's got that on lock. Aaron Banks got that on lock last year. We kind of talked about Spencer Burford. Spencer Burford has a ton of upside. But still kind of learning the smaller nuances of playing O-line at the NFL level, and probably why he was rotating with Brunskill all year. Feliciano's at right guard. So that, to me, is that the competition on the O-line. The competition on the O-line, I don't think anyone's competing for Colton McKivit's spot. No one's competing for, obviously, Trent, Banks, or Brendel. The competition for Feliciano is at right guard. So him and Spencer Burford instantly circling that matchup for training camp. When I get to training camp and the pads come on, I'm watching Burford versus Feliciano. That is already what I anticipated, but now is going to officially be at the top of my list. I wanted to know where, let's see, Eric Armstead. I wanted to know where he was kind of moving around. Didn't mention anything there. I also wanted to know where Jordan Mason was on the depth chart, because again, has he officially taken over TDP, and is he challenging Mitchell? According to Sterling Bennett, Mason was the third string running back behind CMC and Mitchell. So that makes sense. I think that's fair. And I think that that's what it should be right now is CMC, Mitchell, Mason. What I'm looking forward to seeing is how much Mason can continue to push. I think Mitchell's a phenomenal back. Just the biggest thing right now with Mitchell has been availability. But when Mitchell's available, we've seen how good he is. Oh, we got Trey, baby. We're going to Trey. We got Trey. Hold on. We got Trey, baby.
Both John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan said that Brock is pretty much the leader in the clubhouse as far as being the starter when he's healthy. When they had those conversations with you about where things stood currently, how did you take it, and what's your approach to the offseason been?
Nothing's changed for me. Been able to focus on a lot more things that are going to help me. I'd say this offseason versus just focusing on, trying to get back to as healthy as I could last offseason. As far as the stuff with Brock, I mean, that's the same thing I told you guys last year at the end of the year. My opportunity is just to come in and compete, and that's all I wanted. So for me, I don't want to take anything away from Brock, and no one should be able to take anything away from Brock. He did what he did last year, and he deserves all the credit in the world for it. Like I said, for me, I just wanted an opportunity to compete.
Your focus specifically on becoming a better quarterback right now?
I mean, everything right now in OTAs, just being as efficient and learning the offense and continuing to learn and grow as the best quarterback I can be.
The finger injury that you had to kind of relearn emotion to make it work with the injury and then kind of unlearn all that. Can you just kind of explain to us how that has impacted your development here over the last couple of years trying to deal with all that?
Yeah, I mean, my rookie year was was definitely the hardest on it just because I couldn't straighten it. It was my pointer finger, and I couldn't straighten it after that third preseason game when it happened. But coming through my rookie year and finishing that, like I said, my goal that offseason was just to get as healthy as possible. First and foremost, just be able to get my finger as straight as I can. And felt like I got close to that point, but spent a lot more time, rehabbing that and trying to figure that out and relearn, my grip and throwing and everything like that than I did versus this offseason being able to focus on the things that I need to focus on.
Is there a trickle-down effect from that, where it affects other parts of your body that may not be as connected?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, with anything, but wrist, hand, arm, shoulder, it all kind of connects, obviously. So for me, it bugged a lot of other things, and it was hard to find a way to throw, finishing off my middle finger, changing my grip and things like that.
What did you get out of training with Patrick Mahomes and Jeff Christensen this offseason?
Oh, a lot. Learned a ton. Like I said, I was able to focus on the right things. Just having a better idea, again, even better this year coming into year 3 of what is expected of me, how to run the offense, being able to watch Jimmy and Brock play at such a high level this year. But for me, being able to be around Pat was awesome. Just pick his brain, learn about just the type of guy he is, how he spends his free time off season, and then more about his in-season schedule as well.
That arm soreness started to improve as well. I mean, is that true? Or are you not dealing with any arm fatigue, arm soreness since you worked with?
Yeah. Hopefully we can finally kill that this year. I thought going back to my rookie year, same thing. I told you guys it was on me. I didn't do a good enough job of taking care of my body. Going through, obviously coming out of school early, started throwing, through that whole year. Going into my last game in college, and then didn't really stop. Went all the way through the summer or through the fall, through the winter, through the spring. Got drafted, kept throwing through OTAs. 40 days away, I wanted to be as ready as I could. Kept throwing the whole 40 days away, and then going through the whole season, kept throwing again. So that's just a lot of time that I don't know any quarterbacks that would spend that much time throwing. But for me, I wanted to work, and I thought that was the best way to do it. But obviously learned a lot from that. So, yeah, going through my rookie year, dealing with it. Last year, I thought it was in a great spot as well going into it. But, yeah, no issues this year.
You were in your rookie year specifically going through all that offseason work into it. Did you feel like, hey, the ball's not coming out the way I'm used to, the velocity was down, anything like that?
Oh, no, my rookie year, I felt really good until this happened. I think the biggest thing my rookie year was just learning, being able to tie my feet to my arm and tie my feet to my brain and how we see concepts and everything like that.
Tie his
offense is very
feet
specific
to his
as far
upper
as just
body.
tying your feet to your progressions, and no offense. I don't think any offense in the country in college is like that. So it's definitely a learning curve for me. But then obviously having to deal with this kind of took some time away from that, and mentally as well.
Talk about how teams have been interested. There's been some interest in trading for you. They've had those discussions. I mean, at any point, did part of you think maybe that wouldn't be a bad thing?
No, not at all. I knew where I wanted to be. Even going back, like I said last year, I just want an opportunity to compete. For me, I love it here. I love the coaching staff. I love working with Greasy and Clay and now Clint as well. Love the quarterback room. Love the guys in the locker room. No doubt for me, this is absolutely where I want to be.
Jimmy's a little bit older than you. Nate was last year, but this year you guys are relatively the same age. The three of you with Sam. Is that different? What's the vibe like when you're all at different stages of your career, but generally the same age?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a whole lot different, but it's definitely fun. I had met Sam pre-draft back going into my rookie year, so got to spend some time with him. Knew he was a great dude, so was super excited that he was the guy we were going to bring in, and then bringing in Brandon these last couple weeks as well has been awesome. Just guys I can continue to learn from. Like Sam's played in a lot of different places, a lot of different systems. Has seen a lot of ball. So for me, it's just picking his brain on little things. But yeah, it's been awesome. It's a ton of fun in the quarterback room with now adding Clint Kubiak as well into the meeting rooms. I've really enjoyed it.
Talk about your ankle recovery and how you're monitoring that now that you're back on the field, and kind of how you regain confidence, and really another important part of it.
Yeah, it's been it feels like it's been a long process. I do want to say thank you to Mike Sola, especially. He was the PT that I worked with throughout this whole time. We spent a lot of time together, a lot of time with him rubbing on my feet and ankles. So super thankful for that, for him and his willingness to take weekends, travel, whatever it was with me. But I feel like I'm in a really good spot. I honestly don't even feel it or think about it. I'm sure there'll be something, as the season comes up, not anything bad or anything like that. But I mean, with something like that, there can be things that happen, not, missing time or anything, but soreness and things like that. So just continue to work through it and learn as I go, figure out what works best.
During this offseason, did you feel 100% healthy, finger, ankle, everything? And how does that help you going into this season?
I don't know exactly when. Probably towards the end of March, I would say, was when I was 100%. And yeah, finger was probably a past thing throughout this whole rehab process for most of it. I felt like it got to that point, pretty close to that point after my rookie year, after that offseason. But yeah, it's been awesome offseason for me, just being able to spend time, finally getting back to football, finally getting back to being around the guys now.
Brock said that you helped him out quite a bit last year as he was playing. What kinds of dialogues did you guys have during those games? What kinds of things did you share with him that maybe helped him through some of those late season games?
I just tried to just be an ear for him, just to listen to whatever he's seeing and whatever he's processing, how he's seeing things, and just educate as much as I could and help. And obviously I haven't played a ton of ball. He's played more games than me now. But for me, it was just like being a friend, honestly, a lot of it throughout ups and downs of plays and drives and things like that. It's just for me, I just want to be there for him, whatever he needed.
Have you played out your plan for this summer, what you're going to do when OTAs are over, where you're going to train, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, pretty close. I saw everything about me going to tight end U, so I'm excited for that, finally making it this year. I couldn't make it the last couple of years. So I'm excited to go down there with those guys and hang out and throw some balls at George and those other guys. But yeah, I'm planning on working with the same people, going down, just trying to lock in again and hopefully be even better when I come back at training camp.
How much are you itching to get back into game action, whether it's preseason or regular season? Obviously, you got to take a day at a time, but just to prove yourself back on the field 11-11.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really just trying to be where my feet are, trying to live in this moment and be as present as I possibly can. I've enjoyed it. It's been awesome. It's been really, I was just talking to Curtis Robinson actually about it. It's like, really feel like I'm having fun playing football again. And it's hard my first year, especially. And then last year, thought I'd be able to get close to that point, but not having to be so stressed and worried and have a better understanding of offense and defense. And I finally feel like I'm able to just have fun and enjoy it again. Obviously there's ups and downs and there's stress and anxiety that comes with playing the position and playing football. But this is the best I've felt for sure.
It's the most impactful thing you said so far.
Do just a little bit and take their own pace, and some don't come at all and it's voluntary. But it seems like McCaffrey sets a pretty torrid pace out there. And I'm just curious as to when a veteran comes like that, one of your best guys, and he's out there, you run at the end without even helmets on, but he's out there going like it's 100 miles an hour. What does that do for everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, he sets the standard. He's quickly grown into a great leader in our locker room, and I think a lot of guys had a feeling that would happen pretty quickly just based on who he is and after meeting him, how he carries himself. Just very impressive human being. Some people call him like a little Bosa, the way he's just so meticulous with his routine and how he takes care of his body. And I've learned a ton from him, not only football, but being able to talk ball with him is awesome just because he's seen so many different offenses, defenses, and looks. But for me, just being able to be around him as far as his routine and how meticulous he is, like I said,
career, and you talked a little about the stress and anxiety of the position, but you've dealt with a lot of ups and downs. What do you do to take care of your mental and emotional state?
I do a lot. Thankfully, I'm really close with my family, me and my little brother, my parents. I meet with people to help me, set my mindset for the day pretty regularly. So for me, it's just being able to find ways to live in the moment, I think is one big thing that I focused on this year, as well as just realizing like how blessed I am to be in this position. I mean, I say it every single day, like I play in the NFL. Hopefully, obviously, the plan is for me to get on the field this year and really get this thing started. But gratitude is what I kind of bring everything back to, just kind of bringing everything back into perspective.
Are you talking about psychologist?
Something like that. Yeah. A little bit of both. Yeah. It wasn't provided by the team, but someone that I knew, someone knew through the team. Yeah. But it wasn't like you need to go meet with someone, you're sad, anything like that. No, I feel like I'm pretty positive. But yeah, it's helped me out a lot, and just super thankful to be here. Appreciate you guys.
Okay. Hey, man, I like that last part of it. I know mental health has a bit of a stigma attached to it, but honestly, that's kind of my like where I look at Trey, man. I've talked about this before, like how Trey came into this locker room. It was a Jimmy Garoppolo locker room. He was the guy coming in to take away the locker room's favorite guy, like at 21 years old. Like I could only imagine that stress. Like the stress of coming into a locker room and feeling like no one wants you there because they're Jimmy guy. Like they've been rocking with Jimmy for so long. And just as like a result of the situation of being drafted number 3, the trade up, that signaling instantly that Jimmy's no longer the franchise guy and it's going to be Trey. But the whole locker room loved Jimmy. And I think it just put Trey in a really tough spot at 21 years old. And then dealing with the injuries and just now everyone talking about him, everyone crapping on him all the time, the fan base arguing about him. I think it's great. I think it's great that he's working on the mental side of it because that's what football is in a big part of it. Like one of my coaches always said to me, and I really understood this after I stopped playing, but he's like, man, football's 85% mental and 15% physical. Because at a certain point, you get to a level where everyone has physical tools and traits. And at the NFL, everyone has physical tools and traits. Everyone is elite in that regard, or else they're not stepping foot on an NFL field. What is the biggest separator at, I think, this level, because everyone is elite athletically for the most part, is the mental side of things. Again, like you look at Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy was Mr. Relevant because no one viewed him as having those elite physical tools and traits. But what he is elite at are the intangibles, are the processing, the confidence, the leadership. Those are the areas where Brock is elite at. He's elite in the intangibles of playing quarterback. And because of that, he was able to like assimilate right away. And I think with Trey being younger, having less playing time, remember Brock, he played 4 seasons. He played a lot. So Brock had the ability to go up, go down. You remember Brock Purdy had a really good sophomore season, and then it was kind of downhill for Brock from that point. Well, guess what? Brock was able to learn through all that. He was able to learn through those experiences. He was able to understand like how to manage that. And I think Trey being so young, being now 23, like he's in an interesting spot for a kid who's 23. I mean, I couldn't imagine being at this level with those level of expectations with the little experience that he did have. I like that he's working on his mental. Like I really do. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a great thing. And I think you can hear the way he's talking. You can tell that he's been working on himself mentally. He's been working on not looking too far into the future and staying grounded in where he is right now. And he's working on his mentals, and that's huge, I think, for Trey. Trey obviously has to work through his mechanics and he's got to clean up his mechanics, but I really do think it's more mental than anything else. And that's been my assumption up until this point. And he's kind of confirmed. He's not like confirming anything, but he's basically saying like, yeah, man, I gotta work. I'm working on my mentals. I've been in a bad spot mentally, and I'm not going to sit here and spiral. I'm going to try to make the best of my situation. And I understand it. I respect it. I'm glad he's working on it. And that confidence will come hopefully. And I think that's been his issue, from the beginning. It's just like I think I think he has been in a weird place. And if you guys have rocked with me on this channel, if you've rocked with me on this channel, there's a all of this stuff that we're talking about is exactly why I said Trey needed to start and why Jimmy couldn't be there. That's exactly why. Because when you enter Trey into that scenario, what does it do? It creates an instant environment of doubt. My whole thing, if again, you guys have been rocking with me since Trey's rookie year, I've been pounding the table for saying we need to build an environment of belief around Trey. He doesn't have that experience to rely on those ups and downs as he did before. And that's why I was bullish on, even if Trey wasn't ready, believe in him. Like, prop him up. Like, I really did believe that was a huge thing with Trey. I talked about it at length. I continue to talk about it, and I think he basically just confirmed all that. Is he's been going through it mentally from the jump with all the different things, and you can spiral and you can lose your confidence. You can be that guy and have the potential to be that guy, but if you lose that confidence in yourself, like, that's a hard spot to be in. And I'm just glad that he's working through it. That, to me, that was the biggest takeaway of what Trey had to say, was that he he's been in a hard spot, man, and he's not going to sit there and just that's he's not going to take the is what it is mentality. He's going to take the, okay, how do I view my situation? How do I find gratitude? And you heard him say it. He's like, I'm in the NFL. That's awesome. And I just have to keep, basically the way I looked at it is, he's like, I just need to continue to remind myself that I'm blessed. He's got a good family that he can rely on and lean on. And regardless of all the outside noise, I mean, could you imagine having an entire fan base arguing about you all the time? Like, to the point of like getting ready to throw blows or like things like that. Like, like, again, he is a kid. Like, we say that, like, I'm an old head now. I feel like, I just turned 34. So when I'm talking about Trey, I'm talking about a guy who's 11 years younger than me. To me, that is a kid. Like, and I remember like what it was like being 21, 22, 23, and having the old heads tell me I'm a kid, and I'm like, I'm not a kid anymore. Like, oh, I'm 21, 22. Nah, I was a kid. The way I processed everything, the way my mind worked, like, so the biggest takeaway, I think, is that Trey is what appears to be in a good place mentally. And if Trey's in a good place mentally, then I think that's going to translate to success. And I think that's where he's at. Is Trey's got the physical tools, the traits, everything. As long as he is confident in his ability, what is going to bring out the best in Trey is his confidence and staying grounded. And that, so also too, I think overall, like when discussing, we heard from all three quarterbacks, right? We heard from all three quarterbacks. I think it's been an annoying situation for all of us to deal with the last couple months, all the conversations, all this, all that. This guy's going to start, that guy's not, he's going to get traded, he's not. That's, it's been, we have quarterback fatigue, right? But listening to all these guys talk, and listening to them, I think this is going to be a good situation, man. I think they all provide a perspective for one another. I think they can all learn from each other. And we know what it is, man. The San Francisco 49ers are snake bitten when it comes to injuries. So I've got no problems heading into next year with three quarterbacks. And if you can get Brandon Allen on the practice squad, even better. I think I think it's been an annoying situation for us as fans to deal with, all the discourse to come along with this. But I still do believe having these three guys in their current places and where they are, I think that will help them all in the long run. I think Trey will get better. I think Sam will get better. And I think Brock will improve as well. Just with Brock, we're just waiting and seeing how the arm responds. And if his arm responds, then he's probably going to be the guy. But I think that these guys are going to have an opportunity to truly compete for it. And if we get the best version of Trey, we get the best version of Sam, and we get the best version of Brock, guess what that's going to do? It's only going to make all three of those quarterbacks better. And if all three of those quarterbacks are getting better, regardless of who's starting, the 49ers are going to get better. And that's a pretty cool thing, I think. So I like that. Today's a good day, man. Today's a good day. Right? Like we heard from Kyle, we heard from all three quarterbacks. We saw Sam throwing, we saw Trey looking improved. We like Drake Jackson out here looking like a monster. You know what I mean? I think today's a good day. Again, I told you guys when I went to that Golden Heart Funds Dwight Clark series situation and listening to Kyle just talk about the quarterback, it just really made me feel at ease. Because as you guys know, I'm looking for everything. I'm looking for what all these people are saying because we either react to it or we talk to it about it. And just hearing Kyle talk about it, and now hearing all three of the quarterbacks talk about their situations, like I feel better. Like I feel fine with where the 49ers quarterback situation is at. And I do think that when we get to training camp, let the best man win, baby. I'm serious. Like Brock's gonna, I think, get the first crack at it. But after that, let the best man win. Let these guys compete. Let these guys go at it. And it's cliche, iron sharpens iron, and put these guys in a scenario to make each other better and push each other. And I think if that's the case, the 49ers win in the end. So, hey, man, that's where I sit. I feel more comfortable and confident, I think, in that than ever. That, I go back and forth, right? There are parts of me that's like, I would love for Trey to start because they traded so much to get him. And I just have to remind myself, like, Trey isn't that compensation. Trey didn't trade for himself. Trey didn't go up and get himself. Like, that's not his fault. It's not his fault that the 49ers made a huge trade to go get him. And we can't associate that value to him. I know it's hard not to, but again, these guys are people. These are humans. They're not objects, even though we treat them like objects sometimes and we talk about them like objects. But at the end of the day, we got to evaluate Trey as Trey. We got to evaluate Brock as Brock, and we got to evaluate Sam as Sam, not where they were drafted, any of those things. So today was a good day, man. I thought today was a good day. Shout out to everyone vibing. That was our first like simulcast. Like it snuck up on us. I wasn't planning on doing a simulcast. It really did just sneak up on me because we were reacting to everything, and then they went live, and I was not prepared, and really wasn't planning on doing the simulcast, but we did it. And shout out to everyone for sticking around. I hope, I don't know if you guys liked the simulcast or not, but it was cool to get everyone's perspective. It was cool to have like an instant reaction to every time that they got done talking, that we would just kind of recap what they said. And I'm pleased. I am pleased with today. My 49ers cup is full. Like, I feel like it's been empty for a little bit. Like, the draft is nice, free agency's nice, and all that type of stuff. But I feel like right now, my cup is full. I feel satisfied. I feel like the 49ers gave us some good stuff today. And I am appreciative of that. I feel that we can build off of this. This can keep us going because you guys know this is the unbelievable show. Shout out to the gang. Shout out to all you guys. Y'all the best. I appreciate you guys. He said unparalleled show. Man, you guys keep me going, man. Oh my gosh. I think I was doing pretty good there for a while. I think I was able to keep the ums out of it. Bang bang gang. Man, you guys are cooking right now. You guys are absolutely cooking right now. Shout out to the chat. Chat was unbelievable today. I do want to give a shout out to the chat. He said, "Stop, you're making me emotional." God, you guys are on point today, man. You guys are. This is shout out Sourdough Squad, shout out the Mod Squad, baby. We had some numbers in here. Like, we were sitting above like 400 or 500, that's great for us. I caught it. I'm counting that as a catch. Doesn't count. But you guys were great today. Shout out the Mod Squad. Shout out for everyone. Like, I didn't see a bunch of disrespect today either. Like, because when we've been doing our film breakdowns on the quarterbacks, it gets pretty crazy, right? It's been crazy a little bit, the discourse, but I felt like we did good today. Shout out to you guys. If you guys are new to the channel, please sub. Please come back around. Please come vibe with the SDS. Shout out to all the SDS, man. Y'all the best. The SDS is truly unbelievable. You guys are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Debbie says this was unbelievable. Okay, maybe I am blind. I thought it was good. But again, I wasn't watching the chat the whole time. So maybe I am blind. I think I had an umbrella blocking my view of things. So maybe that's what it was. Appreciate you, Peter, man. Shout out to the gang. Welcome to the SDS. Appreciate the sub. Hopefully to see you guys back around. Should we just for good times for normally, if you're new here, normally we would say grab a cookie on the way out. We would say grab a cookie on the way out, especially if this was a 2-hour show, so this was a long one today. So we say, like, it's like an inside joke, like, if you've been here the whole time, you deserve to grab some cookies on the way out. Like, we appreciate you. Grab your cookies. You earned them. I think today, instead of cookies, we should just spam in the chat. Just for good, for old time's sake. Just spam your or your best pun. Just because that I feel like that would really encapsulate today's stream and how unbelievable it was. And just spam we're the gang now, baby. You know the vibes. Look at, oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He said Brad Graham. Yeah, you guys are on point today, man. You guys are on point. I'm proud of you. Look at the chat. We going I don't know if that worked. I tried. Shout out to the gang. I think we just developed a new inside joke, guys. I think we did. And now every time that I say I'm gonna have a stroke, because I'm gonna remember this, and I'm gonna just have a stroke every time I say now. So thank you, and thank you for making this a unforgettable stream. Ooh, we got to keep these puns cooking. Thank you for unforgettable stream. He says your stream is unparalleled. Oh my goodness. You guys. Great job today, guys. Great job, gang. Fantastic. Man, I had fun today, man. Fantastic. You guys are the best. I'll probably, I don't know if I'm going to do another live today, but I'll be probably posting some other content, all that good stuff. And I appreciate y'all. Shout out to the gang. We got the gang cooking. Yeah, don't mess with the SDS/gang. We out here cooking. Appreciate y'all, man. He said Brad broke the internet today. He said this was so fun. I'm loving this. Shout out to gang. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Wednesday. So gang, I'll see you back tomorrow. We'll keep, there's so much going on, a lot of multitasking, a lot of squirrels. So we'll regroup and regather tomorrow. He said, I'm Twitter going off. Y'all the best. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Again, if you're not subbed, sub for more shenanigans. That was unintentional. That was an unintentional See what you guys are doing to me. Grab your cookies on the way out. Drop a for the culture. He said tomorrow's Mom's Day. Y'all the best. I'm out of here, gang. You even got an organic at the end. Couldn't have scripted it any better. It was intentional. God. You guys are great. Phenomenal. Great. A+ work today. A+ work, SDS. I appreciate y'all. I'm not gonna slip another organic in there. I'm not gonna do it. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see